Coaches, Rick Stewart of All Access Coaching. I'm really excited to bring you this free video, and make sure you hit the subscribe and like button down below. It gives us valuable data as far as what coaches want. And also, if I can get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll start doing weekly YouTube clinics for free. And if you hit the like and subscribe button, you'll get notified when we upload new content. We're uploading 3 or 4 videos every week.
All right, Saturday game planning. How do we start as a football program game planning? So one of the reasons that we give our guys off on Saturday is some of I didn't mention this in the previous slide, but some dads are going to be their kids are in youth football. Some of our football players want to go visit colleges in Wisconsin. A lot of our families are Wisconsin Badger fans, so people want to hit those Badger games. So giving them that Saturday off, those are a couple of the reasons why we really like giving those Saturdays off. But to get to this slide here, Saturday game planning prep. And I don't know if any of this is earth shattering or something completely new, but this is the progression that we use as a football program, how we get prepared for the week. And number one, it's about us. I probably should have put that in black. I probably should have made it in really big italicized words. Probably the best thing that we do at Muskego, well, one of the best things we do is we focus our game plan on us first. We focus on what we need to do. When we lose a game or we have plays that average less than 3 yards a carry, it is usually 90% of the time, we've researched this, 90% of the time, it is something we've done wrong. It could be the wrong first step, lack of communication, a guy didn't carry out his fake long enough, a guy used wrong technique on a block. And so most of the time, 9 out of 10 times when a play is not successful, it's more to do with us and our mistakes. So as a football program, offense, defense, special teams, and especially offensively for us, we focus on us. So the first thing we're going to do on a Saturday as coaches, we're going to watch our film. And I, as the head coach and as the offensive coordinator, I'm going to watch every play, and I'm going to watch every player. And I'm going to put what's called huddle notes, which I think most of you guys have huddle. And we're going to put notes there for the kids to look at. And my offensive line coach will also look at huddle. And he's more detailed than me because he's the position coach. He's going to write down notes as well. And then that'll formulate our practice plan for Monday. So Monday we have a chalk and film session. Whatever mistakes we made, we're going to make sure that we have it in our plan. And then also when we have practice Monday on the field, when we have individual work, we're going to make sure whatever issues we had, we're going to address that. And the other thing that's going to happen is, maybe a team came up with a scheme or a stunt that you had not seen, and it was effective. Well, I'm going to tell you something. The next team you play or someone down the road is probably going to have that in. So we address that immediately Monday at practice. Okay, maybe the next team has never done this, but guys, last week we struggled with this stunt or we didn't see this look. So we're going to immediately address that. So by watching our previous game, we're going to correct our mistakes. I think if you skip watching your game and you go right into the next game and just gloss over your game film, you're doing a disservice to your football team. How do you know what your mistakes are and how do you improve? So I can't mention how important that is to make sure you're watching your game film first. And then you share the notes with the kids. The kids will be able to see the notes over the weekend, and then we'll watch it again with them on Monday, the mistakes they had to make. Next thing I'll do then is I'm gonna get the roster of the opposing team. Okay, I'm gonna look at who their leading tacklers were. I'm gonna look at their height and weights. I'm also gonna look at who started last year. Usually that would be something I've done in the off season. I'm gonna look at who their all conference guys are back. Okay, because that's gonna dictate how I'm gonna call a game. Okay. When I'm done doing that kind of formulates my game plan, because if I'm looking and I notice that one linebacker's got a lot more tackles than the other guy, if I'm going to run belly or I'm going to run a off tackle play, I might want to run a little bit more at that guy. If I notice that they're a little bit of a smaller team in height and weight, then I know that we're probably going to be running more north and south. We get a team that's faster, a little more quicker, and we notice that based on what we're seeing on their roster, and then we start to watch film, we're probably going to game plan running a little more straight ahead offense at them. If we notice that the team is big, a lot of big D linemen, heavy guys, 300-pound linemen, big linebackers, we're probably going to be a little bit more of an outside team that game because we're going to be able to run away from that size. So you run at speed, run away from size. So then I'm going to be watching the film of their most recent game. I'm going to check where their starters were playing. We talked about whether those guys are a big team, a fast team, okay? And then I'm going to go through each position group, and I'm going to make some assessments, and that's going to dictate how I'm going to call a football game. And I'm going to start with their linebackers because everybody's going to put their best 2 football players typically at linebacker. And the first thing I'm doing when I watch the video of their most recent game, what I like to do is I like to watch their first like 2 or 3 steps. Are they stepping forward? Okay, if they're not stepping forward, then I'm feeling really good about running right at those guys. Okay, if I notice that they're very aggressive and they're coming up hard, then I'm feeling really good about our counter game and our play action pass game. So I feel that everything in the wing tee, it's an if-then statement. We keep hearing that word. If you've been, watching a lot of the wing tee videos that have been coming out recently in podcasts and webinars. So no matter what they do on defense, we have an answer. So if I'm seeing those linebackers not coming forward, okay, sometimes you'll even see guys taking a step backwards. I'm going to feel real confident in running north and south at those guys. Again, if I see linebackers that are coming up really hard, we're going to be running some misdirection, and we're going to be running some play action at those guys. Waggle, drag. That can be open a ton versus linebackers that are coming hard to stop the run game. Next thing I'm going to look at, by looking at their roster, if I see that they've got a bunch of, returning starters at linebacker, maybe they've got a 3-year starter at linebacker. He's a returning all-conference, all-state type kid. And you notice that they're reading your guards really, really, really well. Then another thing you might want to have in your game plan is false pulls. Have a false pull off your jet sweep, or then you call jet trap instead of jet sweep. Try to get that super aggressive, all-conference, all-state linebacker to slow down. So screw up his keys. So we place, we may run belly and false pull the backside guard the other way. And if that really good linebacker goes with him, now we've blocked him by a false pull. So I would use false pulls versus really good linebackers. Now, if the linebacker's looking in the backfield, I wouldn't waste any time with any false pulls because he's not reading his guard. So if you're playing a team that has new starters, really are struggling stopping the football, I wouldn't put any little tricks in there like that. But when you play those really good kids, I would have some things to get them. You want to get them off the eyes of the guard looking in the backfield, because if the guard's false pulling, they're going to stop looking at the guard. Now you get what you want. Them looking in the backfield with your faking and misdirection and play action passes, you're going to put that really good linebacker in a tough spot. Defensive end, outside linebackers, that's huge here. A lot of us run red and blue, so there might be a defensive end that you may want to run more at. So you may want to shift and trade. If there's one guy that has a lot more tackles, or there's one guy that's just a lot bigger, and you're concerned that your wing cannot block him, then I think as a game plan, you're going to want to do some shifting and trading to get that matchup you want, and go against the guy that's a weaker blocker. You still got to be honest. You can't always keep running that way, but you might go 3-4 plays to 1 running at that guy. And again, through shifting and trading, you can get a favorable matchup. And a lot of times you could go double tight too. So many teams are used to being and playing a spread team that some teams don't even have a tight end. So you're going to come out with 1 tight end. And if you go 2 tight ends, now you're putting a guy that normally doesn't line up on a tight end to have to learn a new position in 4 days. So you can utilize some formations to take advantage of those outside linebacker DNs. Another thing is we're going to look at how the defensive end is playing us. If the defensive end is coming up the field, then we're going to want to run some traps at him. You got your down with the guard kick out. You could possibly run a tight sweep rather than down blocking the end. You kick out the end. You could run a counter and trap the end. So if you have an end coming up the field penetrating, you want to make them pay for that. If you have an end that is reading your tight end and your tight end down blocks, then your regular buck sweep would be a really effective play. So we're not just going to call plays to call plays. So we're going to have a game plan saying, okay, how does this defensive end react to what we do? Okay, and again, if he's a penetrator, we're going to try to kick him out with some plays. If he's reading, we like the buck sweep, our little wings that are going to get an easier down block on that guy. Another thing we've also have is if both defensive ends are rushing, we love the screen game, especially if you've got a defensive end that is really aggressive, an all-state type guy. We like to have a screen off either our waggle, our belly pass, and have our running back fake a block and kind of clear out with our center and tackle pulling. So if you notice both ends are rushing, or one is really aggressive and he's coming really, really hard, let's say like an all-state defensive end who's got a ton of quarterback sacks, that would be a good guy to screen against. So again, even when we face all-state guys, we have plays in the wing T that we can take advantage. So that's part of our game plan. So if we notice that, we're going to take advantage of that situation. Defensive line, again, we're going to look at their body types. If we've got three really big dudes, then we feel pretty good about running to the outside in those guys. Get them tired. They're going to have a hard time chasing down plays. If we have a little bit of a smaller D-line, we're going to run more north and south at those guys, take advantage that they're not as big. Similar to the D-ends, what is the D-line doing? Are they a penetrating team? Are they a slanting team? Now, if they're a penetrating team, you love your traps, your counter traps, your crisscrosses where you're pulling. If they're a slanting team, we like the belly, we like the sweep, kind of take them where they want to go. So again, those are how we're analyzing. If you get a D-line that rushes the quarterback real well, you could run a middle screen against them. If you get a D-line that's not very aggressive and kind of big and slow, I wouldn't want to ever screen that team. The guy may accidentally just be slow rusher and tackle your screen guy or pick it off. So,
coaches, I really hope you got some great information from that YouTube video. Again, hit the subscribe and like button down below. It gives us valuable data. And if I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll do free YouTube clinics. And you also get notified when I'm doing those YouTube clinics and when I upload new content to this channel. Thanks for watching, coaches.